Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Caplexus podcast, brought to you by Caplexus Capital. Caplexus Capital is a finance talent platform that helps students and professionals build their practical skills through live projects on real company mandates. But this podcast is not about us, it's about people like you. Every episode, we bring you conversation with individuals who have achieved relatable achievements or milestones, clearing CFAs or converting a top MBA college or cracking a competitive placement or landing a corporate role against all the odds. These are not extraordinary stories. They are ordinary people who made small, consistent efforts and choices that added up to something big. Our goal is very simple. It's to inspire you by showing that success is not just about genius. It's about strategy, persistence, and learning from your failures. So, whether you are preparing for an exam or applying for colleges or navigating for your first job, this podcast is for you. Today, we have one such story. Let's get into it. So, hi, Ansh. It's wonderful to have you today. So, let's start with what you currently do, where you reside, and what's been your background until now.
Hi, Vishwesh. Thank you for having me on the podcast. So I am currently stationed in London. I'm doing my master's in finance from King's College over here, and I my background has been in finance primarily till now. I've done my CFA Level 1. I've worked with Motilal Oswal. I've also so right now planning to be a quantitative trader. I've basically been trading on my own since 2022, and my primary instrument has been options in the Nifty index. And yeah, now I'm studying to be a quantitative trader.
Fair point. So, to begin with, what made you choose opt for CFA, or what made you think that the CFA would be something that you wanna choose for your life, for yourself?
So I'll be really honest. Um, After I was done with my 12th, I was a little clueless about what I wanted to do. So I opted to do a bachelor's in business administration with a very esteemed university in India called Narsi Manji. And after that, I realized that I had a thing for mathematics and finance, and I just wanted to go that way. And yeah, I've been progressing into the field since then.
Got it. So you registered for level one. Walk us through the entire journey of your first attempt. How did you prepare? How did you go through with it?
So after I was done with my undergrad at Narsi Munji, I and I knew that I wanted to get into finance, and I wasn't able to find a break for myself. I decided to take up the CFA level ones to gain credentials, or basically. But um, yeah, looking back at it now, 3 years, 4 years later, even just the level one taught me a lot to uh, that built a base for me to get into quantitative trading to get to where I am right now. And yeah, so my level one, why I decided to register for my level one. And yeah, study. I did fail my first attempt, and studying was always difficult. It was pretty rigorous. I used to think I can do it in 3 months or 6 months, but I did take a good year and a half, I would say, to do it. And yeah, it was a tough journey. And I mean, we can elaborate later on tips on how to approach that journey.
Fair. On an approximate for the first attempt, how many hours did you think you put in?
So you mean hours in
Hours of study, hours of
total
preparation, total
total
hours
hours
for the first
per
attempt.
day?
Yeah, per no, total hours in general for your entire examination.
It's honestly, I can't put a pin on it because it was pretty variable. Some days I was studying barely 2 hours, but yes, some days when I would get studying 6 hours even in a day. But yeah, averaging about 4 hours for I'd say first attempt I took 6 months. So 6 months is what, 30 days per. Hold on, bro. Yeah, that's like
All right,
720.
let's not. Fair, fair. Got it. Understood. Uh, that's actually too much. And so, when did you actually realize that you were in trouble, or this wouldn't happen, or were you confident until you prepare attended your exam that
I'll
this
tell
might
you
not work through?
exactly when I understood that I'm cooked in how we like to call it. Is 10 days before the exam, I started doing my mocks for the first time. And on the mocks, I was realizing that I was not getting a score beyond 70%. And that was my first sign that my performance is probably not up to the mark. That also probably scared me a little. So my performance on the mocks then just went downhill later. And yeah, on my final exams, I was barely below the pass mark. So yeah.
I believe CFA is a pretty lengthy exam. It's 4 hours, if I'm not wrong. When you have that in your mind that maybe you are not prepared, what's going through your mind? What's the thought when you are preparing for such a difficult paper?
To be honest, on the paper, you don't have time to think. Like, you only know that, okay, this is not going the way that you would want it to. But yeah, you don't have time to think, okay, this I messed up on this question or that question. You just have to get through it as fast as you can, right?
Fair. And then on the results day, what happened? Where did you think you lacked? What could
So
have been done better?
on the results day, I realized I think I was lagging in fixed income mostly and a
Mhm.
little economics. So yeah, I just realized what was going wrong. Then I took diagnostic mocks later to understand what kind of topic am I going wrong with, and yeah, then I just kept on building with that.
So even if you have prepared once, thinking of attempting the exam second time, especially for CFA, is not something everyone can do or does. There's certain aspect of how expensive the exam fees is also, but more than that is the delinquency that you have to prepare, put in throughout almost a year. So what was that one thought that didn't let you give up, that you were persistent that I want to prepare again, I will give second attempt?
You're very right to point out that it's a pretty expensive exam, and it takes it's not easy to just go for a second or a third attempt just like that. But what I realized later was the right way to do it is first understand where you're currently at. So, for example, if you have a 6 month plan of studying, after 3 months, look at where you're at by a diagnostic mock, and then you plan ahead, or maybe even in 6 months, maybe 1 month before the exam, you take those diagnostic mocks. Then you start with your revisions. And in revisions, what really helped me out was I used to just write down cheat sheets, and yeah, that the making cheat sheets helped me a lot because it gave me main points at a glance in a second. And yeah, so after that, take your mocks again. And if you think if you're getting like a 90% at least on your mocks, that is when I think you're prepared to give the exam. Don't take it before that because you'll end up wasting money.
So do you say that especially for the second attempt, that maybe prepare first unless you are not confident, you shouldn't register again? But
100%. And
but don't
it's
you
a
think there's this?
exam. If you want to burn your or your parents' money, you're welcome to do it.
No,
But
I certainly understand your point, but isn't there one thing that maybe you won't be as triggered by that deadline until and unless you already have registered for something that you have it in mind ki, I don't have any option. If you think that maybe I'll register once I get confident, then sometime it could happen that you can lose your track, focus from the track. Is it possible? Did it ever occur to you that I haven't registered, so I might explore something else as well?
That's a very interesting point because yes, it does give you like a like a deadline that this is when you need to be ready. But you know,
Hmm.
it can be demoralizing. One, two, it can be super expensive giving the exams again and again. You got to weigh your pros and cons. Do you want the timeline or
Yeah.
do you want to 1.5 2 lakh rupees on the exam? And yeah, I mean, it's better to know that you're prepared for it and then decide on taking on it and have extra time till the deadline than having a deadline on your head and possibly not even being able to meet it, because
Mhm.
a lot of people, you know, some days you just can't work that much, you just don't feel like it, you've been tired after 10 days of constant 6 hour study sessions, you're just done. So it's pretty common, right?
True, understandable. I believe while you were preparing for your second attempt, you were also working with Motilal Oswal, if I'm not wrong.
No, that so my level one is what got me my Motilal Oswal.
Okay, fair, fair. So apart from during this entire journey, that 1.5 year, how was your social life in general? How did preparing for CFA and affect your entire life in other ways?
Bro, cut off social life. Just forget it. There's no social life. There's no
You have
partying.
to.
Just forget it. The closer your the closer timeline, smaller timeline that you have to prepare for it, the more you need to forget about social events, gatherings, friends, sometimes even family. It's sad, but that's true.
Fair, understood. When you discovered your weaker areas from your first attempt, I guess fixed income and economics,
Yeah.
what made you sure that the same thing won't go wrong in the second attempt as well? Because I believe on the first attempt as well, you had a decent score, but only a few subjects pulled it down.
Yeah.
So, what was those sure point that you knew that this is something I have to do this time, so it doesn't come down again?
It's a secret called 15 mocks at the end of preparing your for your exam. That's what makes you sure. I told you, right? So until and unless you get the 90% and above on your mocks,
Mhm.
until don't think about giving your exam.
Fair, fair point. So, what about your? Did you work at all with your CFA?
What do you mean? Did I work at all with
I
my
mean,
CFA?
while you were preparing for your CFA, were you doing anything with that as well? Any other course or certification or education or work experience, anything?
So initially, on my first attempt, I wasn't, but by my second attempt, I had for a year I had been preparing and had been involved in my family business, and
Correct.
yeah, I was just managing uh, the
That
business.
that does sound hectic. How did you not let yourself burn out, or even if you did, how did you get out of it? What was your motivation?
My motivation was only the fact that I just like to work with numbers on my own, not being troubled by anyone. That's just how I like to do things. So yeah, that's my only motivation. That's what I've always wanted to do. And now also I prepare to be a quantitative trader in the future, just so I can sit alone in a room coding and trading by myself, not working with anyone.
Relevant. So by the end of your second attempt, while you were approaching for the exam a second time, What was your average mock score? Were you crossing that benchmark 90% that you've been talking about?
100%. I was hitting 95s, 97%
That's
on
crazy.
my exam, and I think on my final exam, I even after that, I only got like an 85, 86%, I'm guessing. So that, I mean, for me, that surety played out really well.
That's amazing. Uh, how was the exam? Can you walk us through how the exam is actually conducted, the format of it, and are there any difficulties associated with actually putting out that knowledge that you have learned throughout this 6 months or a year to an actual 4 hour exam paper?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because you're doing almost what, six, seven subjects in 3.5, 4 hours. You get one break in between. They take away your watches, they take away your phones, they take away everything that you have on you. They will give you pen and paper inside the exam hall. And yeah, if at your first time, it can seem very intimidating that I can't even look at time for 4 hours. Um, but yeah, I mean, it, you got to be prepared for it. The best way to do it is do mocks on the website, on the CFA website as well. And if you have money, just buy the extra mocks, do them as well, and get acquainted with the uh, with the portal, with the style of their how they, I mean, style of, what is it called? Whatever, yeah.
LTS,
The
ecosystem. Yeah,
the
correct.
questioning. Yeah.
Yeah. So once you saw that result, once you got that mail that you actually passed, you cleared the level one. What was the mindset shift that happened on two levels? First, for you, how did it boost your confidence for yourself about what more you can do in your early future? And for second, how did the industry start viewing you after you got that credential? Like, was there any difference, and what was it?
There is definitely a difference in how people see you after your CFA level ones, twos, and threes, and yeah, like the respect just keeps getting better. CFA is one of the premier most degrees in the financial analyst domain, and yeah, it's just at least the finance people look at you like, okay, wow, you did the CFA level one, that's pretty good. Even internationally, like I'm here in London and I tell people that yeah, I've done my level one, they they're pretty surprised, like, wow, okay, you've done your level one, that's pretty good. um but what was the other question? One is how
How does
do
it
people.
changes things for you? How do you view things differently? That okay, I have cleared CFL level one. This is more that I can do, or this is more that is achievable for me now.
Yeah, so yeah, getting back to that, on when I received the mail, I was so excited. I was over the moon. Yeah, it meant the world to me that wow, okay. But on the next day, you realize, okay, this was just a shorter goal in your long-term goal. So you have to move on to the next goal. So you just start working ahead for the next one, whatever it is, your job, your level two, your family business, your whatever it is. And over the time, I used to always think that whatever I studied in my level one was, I feel like it was kind of irrelevant when I was working in as a business analyst, because I was mostly working with equities and valuations. But now that I'm starting to study towards becoming a quantitative trader, I really feel that that was a really strong base building, and I have been able to build on top of it so easily. And some of what I'm doing is level two material as well. So of course
Correct.
that's gonna help, and that's given me insight into, okay, level two is also probably really practical and real world oriented. Level one is just foundational base building, and that makes it even more important that you score really good on it if you do
Correct.
actually plan to go.
Got
So yeah,
it.
that.
Got it. So what are your plans for level two now?
For level two, so right now I'm honestly cluttered with a lot of things on my head. One of them is my dissertation, my final exams. My dissertation is on a quantitative regime switching strategy in Nifty 50 index options, and
Okay.
yeah, I mean that seems already very hectic. So after that, I do plan to give my level 2. I have been preparing on the side a little bit. I haven't been able to give it
Mhm.
a lot of time, but yeah, after I'm done with my dissertation, I do plan to pursue that with hopefully a job on the side.
All right. Wonderful. So in short, whatever we talked about it now, uh, what advice would you give to a young professional who has just come out of a college or a third year of a college, probably wanting to go into finance, might consider CFA? What would be your one advice to him? Mantra.
I would say before doing your CFA, know what you really want to do. What is your long-term plan? How do you see yourself after 20, 30 years? Because let's be honest, in finance, it's never a game of 5, 10 years. It's always a game of the next 20, 30 years. So think about where you want to be, what you want to do, how you see your life. Research properly. We have so many tools on our hands these days. AI is really exploding the market. As a quantitative trader, I've recently learned coding, and trust me, bro, ChatGPT. It's only been 6 months, and ChatGPT codes better than me already. And it got what recent update 2 months ago. I've been doing it for 6 months. It does it so much better than me. So
Uh,
yeah, there are tools at your disposal. There's everything. Know what you want to do. What is your long-term plan? Wha- In what industry do you see yourself? Every industry has a niche in itself. So know what niche do you want?
I actually want to pick you on this. So exactly, that is very correct because in the last couple of years, CFA has been pushed around like if you want to go into finance, anything that you want to do into finance, go for CFA. But I firmly believe that CFA is not for everyone. It's meant to be, it's necessary for some niches, but even in those niches, it's very intrapersonal on who should do it or do CFA or who should not. Do you believe that's true, or do you believe that everyone can finance and can do CFA, get to a
I
certain
mean,
level?
at level one, I do realize it's a very generalized degree, and even if you want to get into
Mhm.
corporate, yeah, you do have subjects like corporate governance and stuff which goes through that. So it can, I'm not sure, but it probably can be a starter certification for corporate uh, people as well in that way. But yeah, I'm not sure what happens in the industry. For me, it's played out really well.
Yes. Which study material did you use? Did you use Schwezer or the CFA learning ecosystem ones?
I was mostly using Schwezer and tallying it again and again with the CFA course material on the website.
Okay, so you prepared by yourself, you didn't join any coachings or something like
Initially, on my first attempt, I did join a coaching, but that just didn't play out really well. I thought that would be good, but I mean, his teaching style was very practical. He was teaching me stuff on
that?
Excel. It did implement in my studying style, but yeah, I think he just skipped a few topics.
Fair.
So
You mentioned a point a few minutes back that ChatGPT can basically code a better, write a better code than you, and for which you have been preparing for the last 6 months. Do you think if not now, CFA will not be as relevant considering AI automations and all the tools that have been changing in finance?
that's again a very interesting point. So AI is at the culmination of a huge boom in a huge recession in employment industry for human capital, which is very bad. I understand, but so if you know how to use AI, it can actually increase productivity, then replace you as an employee, and that is because AI is not at a level where it can um, do fundamental logical thinking, abstract thinking with coding, with um, everything. It can't do everything combined. So there
Correct.
is there was this
That, Mhm.
philosophical thing that I read very early on. I'm sorry, I don't remember the author,
That's
but
fine.
it said there are two kinds of people. One is a generalist, and one is a specialist. A
Mhm.
generalist is when the person, in a business, how the CEO is a generalist. He knows what's happening with the finances, what's happening with the operations, what's happening with everything inside the business. A CFO, on the other hand, is a specialist. He only knows what's happening with finances and how finances need to be operated. Uh,
Correct.
Taking from that, this AI boom is going to increase the demand for generalists.
Correct. Fair.
Yeah, I think I put it pretty
Yeah,
simple.
wonderfully put. So, okay, so let's talk about the current situation right now. What do you do? You are pursuing masters. How does that relate to the industry, and what do you see yourself as after these masters? Like, what are your future goals?
So, like I told you, my future goal is that I just don't want to work with anyone, for
Mhm.
anyone, with anyone. I don't want to have employees. AI and technologies booming so greatly right now that it's easy to do that as well. So I just want to be left alone, trading on my own, doing my code, making my strategies, back testing and stuff. I would for now love to work with. So it's also not that easy to be a quantitative trader like that, and
Mhm.
that's have to work after I'm done with my masters because uh, you and I, and people who are going to be probably watching this, we have a very retail mindset, and
Correct.
uh, and someone with an institutional mindset is thinking on a very different scale than us. For us, is even as sophisticated investors, for us a buy signal may be okay. Price is crossed above MACD 100 and P is
Mhm.
2. Sector B is 1, whatever. So, but at their level, they're thinking about they're applying linear regression and CAPM theories and pharma theories, and
Correct.
with interest rate changes, and and they're finding minute signals in stock prices and index prices. For example, they're looking at, okay, the interest rate change from 0.0001 from yesterday to today. That will leave a 100
Mhm.
impact on the index. Let's trade that. That is what they're looking at. They're not behaving like retail traders.
Fair. That's that was actually an incredible advice. Okay, so the to end, what do you think the future of finance would be as considered the geopolitical conditions right now? Do you think if there is gonna be another boom because the markets have been down worldwide, commodities are low, equities are low, indexes are low, everything is low. So how do you think a recovery would be possible from this point? Because we know a recovery would come. We have seen that from COVID as well. But at the time of COVID, recovery came in really fast. Do you think the boom will be so with this a previous pace, or it will be a little stagnant for a while now? What are your indications, purely based on charts and
So,
situations?
so technically, based on charts, I mostly follow the Nifty 50 index and Nifty Bank
Hmm.
index. Technically, based on charts, for me, Nifty 50 had broken key resistance levels past in the past 2 months, and for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite bearish. Of course, I even today I was seeing a lot of buying activity, and it's shooting high every day. There was a almost 1,000 point gap up from the lowest that we saw on the index. But also, I had just today I had heard some news that Iran has again closed the Strait of Hormuz
Yeah.
because of some violation of policy from US, which I honestly don't even know what it is. But looking at situations like this, it Strait of Hormuz is a big part of our economy and supply chain. People didn't even know about it. I didn't even know about it, say 6 months back. But yeah, it's a huge choke point. It's 20% of the world's supply. It it does drive up value and prices in things. And a smart trader would probably play on oil for now,
Mm-hmm.
not indulge with equities. Only be interested in buying for a long term investment.
Right.
Trading, if you're sophisticated enough, I would definitely say you should trade. If you're not, then
Not
stay
the
away
time
from
to gamble.
not the time to gamble.
Fair.
Exactly. So,
Fair. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ansh. This was actually very incredible. That was the first time. Thank you for being honest about everything, your failures and comeback, and the extensive knowledge that you've given us. Uh, Most people only plan to highlight a reel, but you shared actually the behind the scenes of how preparation behind CFA goes and what a CFA finance professional looks in his life. Thank you so much for your time.